Now, Mr. Cross, a couple of things. I just want to make sure we get you back on the record about some of the things that you said in the past. You said that one manifestation of chronic weak business investment and low productivity is the OECD's forecast that Canada's per capita GDP growth between 2020 and 2016 will be the lowest among its 29 members. This is something I think we really need to sound the alarm bells on. It's a very, very disturbing trend. And one of the things you said, which I thought was really quite apt, was you said that there's a growing sentiment in Canada that Canada has wasted a decade of low interest rates on more government debt rather than business investment. I wonder if you could elaborate on those sentiments.
Sure. One thing I'll add to the previous response before I get to your question is, just because something is given a name doesn't mean that's what the intent is. Biden has created something called the Inflation Reduction Act. It is the most inflationary source of upward pressure on prices in North America today. So just because an act is called a certain thing doesn't mean anything. But to go back to your question, I mean, yes, I go back to the I think the most telling remark I've heard recently is the comment by former Maclean's columnist Paul Wells that if you run a successful business in this country, you're made to feel like you've done something wrong. I can't think of anything that summarizes better what has gone wrong with the climate for business investment and entrepreneurship in this country.
And I've heard you reiterate Mr. Wells' comment before. And I think what you're touching on is really a cultural difference between Canada and the United States, because you're absolutely right. You know, my 4 years in the House of Commons, every day I sit there and I listen to Liberal and NDP politicians beat up on successful business people when really their accomplishments should be lauded in our society. And they are lauded in American society. And I think that the sentiment that you and Mr. Wells described is quite correct. How am I for time, Mr.? I'm good. Thank you for your response.